I'm a teacher in my classroom. Actually, a couple of years back, you helped me. I had a girl in the classroom who had arthritis, and they said she was going to become crippled in time. She also didn't speak. And so I had two goals, that she would speak and that she would be healthy. And you said, well, when you can make peace with her not speaking, maybe you could be of influence to her to be healthy. And I did, and she never spoke to me. But now she runs. I talked to the mom. The girl's really healthy. She was going to be crippled, but now she's fine. So I didn't get to talk to you about a student I had last year. A girl had terminal brain cancer, cancer to the brain, so she's 6. And but I followed the same advice. I always smiled at her. I always, no rules or anything. And one day when she didn't do her homework, my vision was she's going to live, a full life. And she didn't do her homework, and I decided to be a little serious. I said, sweetheart, you need to do your homework. And she fell backwards. Like, I'd never seen a sick kid at all. But in that moment, when I got serious with her, when I was kind of not in the vortex, she looked like a sick kid with cancer, and I'd never seen that before. And so for the rest of the year, I was always smiling, no rules, you can do whatever you want. And I've never seen someone like her. Like, everybody, she was a beacon of love. Everybody loved her. She had a smile all the time. She would support kids who were sad. And then one day I read a paper she wrote, and this story was, she got chemotherapy before school all the time. And the story said, I went to the park today, yippee, yippee, hooray, hooray, I like this world. And I ran into the corner, I cried my eyes out, because I couldn't accept how I bitch and complain, and here this little girl is get chemotherapy, and she's nauseous, and she likes this world. And I guess now that she's gone, and I was able to give her the support of prioritizing feeling good with her, now it goes back to my original question I had years ago, when you kind of recommended not necessarily praying for the child, but just being happy with the child, being that way. But now the child's not in my room anymore, and I kind of want to pray for her, but at the same time, I know if I pray for her, I'll be partly focused on the problem.
Well, that's the tricky part in this, isn't it? In other words, that's why we say, go to the vortex and then hold someone you care about as your object of attention. And this is the thing, we know that we're becoming very redundant in this go to the vortex business, but what happens is you can have an interaction with another and therefore an influence with another, whether you are in the vortex or not. In other words, you have the ability to walk around and engage with others. You have the ability to hold them in conversation. You have the ability to influence them from wherever you are. What we want you to understand is that as you have developed this relationship with someone in your classroom or someone that you're interacting with, as you've developed this relationship that seems like a physical relationship where you're learning each other's names and you're learning the kinds of things that you're comfortable talking about with each other. At the same time that you are developing that relationship, you are developing a hole in the vortex relationship. So when you see someone who is sick, you put a well version of them in your vortex. When you see someone afraid and timid, you put a confident, secure version of them in your vortex, without even knowing that you do it. Well, if you don't deliberately visit your vortex on a really regular basis, then your relationship with them becomes one that is framed up based upon the things of a physical nature that you're giving your attention to, which is just fine. Everybody's doing it. It's what most people would call what their reality is, and it would be just fine except for this one very important factor. You have created a version of you that's over here that this conversation with this person is depriving you of. So the sadness that you feel when you are focused upon someone in their sickness isn't only because you are in your good Samaritanness feeling unhappy about their physical plight. It's that you, in your attention to what caused you to become more, are not being the more that this caused you to be. So it's like a double whammy. It's like they helped you to become more, but now your attention to them is the thing that's keeping you from becoming the more that they helped you to become. So your relationship is so intricate because there is a version of them and a version of you in the vortex that this relationship that the two of you are playing out is depriving both of you of. You see, you're both depriving yourself of who you really are. So when you just sort of take at face value, because we told you to, the existence of your vortex, And you start practicing the feeling of the vibration of the vortex until this is the most familiar place for you to stand. Now, your knowledge of your clarity is secure. Your knowledge of her well-being is secure because you've practiced it. You're not pretending it. You're not looking at the opposite and wishing it were something else. You've practiced it until you know it. You've practiced it until this vibrational reality is more dominant in your vibrational patterns in just terms of airtime of what you're thinking than what you're observing. And then what happens? There's a dramatic shift that takes place in terms of manifestation. Let's go back to something that we started to say earlier. As you stand in your physical body, you can have a relationship with someone when you're not in your vortex, or you can have a relationship with someone when you're in your vortex. In other words, you can stand in your physicalness, in your full-blown physicalness, and you can be in the vortex or not in the vortex. And the people that you're interacting with can feel by the power of your being which of those two choices you've made. Most people don't practice being in the vortex until they're confronted with a problem, and then it's too late. But if you've practiced being in the vortex before you're confronted with a problem, so that you just stand in a place of stability, then here's the difference between someone standing in their body out of the vortex or standing in their body in the vortex. When you're standing in your body in the vortex, the energy that creates worlds is flowing through you, is guiding your thought, is guiding the timing of your words, is guiding the energy that you are presenting. In other words, you are an extension of this powerful energy. And then when you hold someone as your object of attention, with all that alignment, with all of that source energy, you cause them, for the time of your influence, to connect with the version of them that the two of you have created inside the vortex, and in that time there is no resistance. And if you can influence them to that on a semi-regular basis, you can assist them in physical recovery. That's how it works. But you can't do it hit and miss, and you can't do it if you're not in the vortex, and you can't go back and forth. In other words, you've got to stake your flag inside the vortex, and you've got to practice it until that's who you are. And you know, you do that with this experience and this one and this one and this one, and before you know it, you've got it relative to all experiences. You only have to make that claim once or twice, and pretty soon, anybody that you see who's in any state of being, you can stand in your alignment with their well-being and reflect it to them, and you will positively affect them for the time of their engagement with you, you see. You're like a satellite dish, beaming it down. So look at it this way. We started to talk about this earlier today, and let's focus here and bring it into a new place. So, manifestation is not an outside or inside the vortex thing, is it? In other words, manifestation is manifestation. Manifestation is a coming to fruition or tangible evidence of a vibrational frequency. How's that? Manifestation is the tangible evidence of a chronically offered vibrational frequency. So there are manifestations that are evidence of being out of the vortex, and there are manifestations that are evidence of being in the vortex. Would you agree with that? From which place do you want to do your manifesting? It really is that simple. I want to do all of my manifesting from inside the vortex. So what would an inside the vortex manifestation, what would it look like? What would a manifestation that's coming on, how would it look from inside the vortex? The first sign would be, I feel a happy calling to something. I feel an inspiration. I feel an interest. I feel eager about it. That's an indication that there's something going on in the vortex. It's the beginning of things swirling in the vortex, yes? What would be a next sensation? Oh, feels comfortable in here. Feels secure. Feels like home. Feels normal. Feels natural. Feels lovely. Feels stable. Feels like love. Feels like appreciation. Feels like where I belong. Feels natural. What would be the next logical thing as things are progressing along this manifestational trail? Ideas are flowing. Good ideas are flowing to me. Ideas that I know are good. I'm beginning to sort of leap for joy inside the vortex with these ideas that are coming. Are you following us? More ideas are coming. More good ideas are coming. What's the next logical thing? I'm meeting up with people. I'm meeting up with more people that are thinking about more of the things that I'm thinking about. Turning pages, picking up a magazine. There it is. Looking on the internet, there it is. Everywhere I look, evidence of what I've got active in my vibration. It's like the whole world has become interested in what I'm interested in and is feeding it back to me. Another indication that I'm in the vortex. What would be the next logical step? People are talking to me about it. I'm rendezvousing with people about it. What would be the next logical step? I'm getting ideas, and when I act on the ideas, big results come from it. Evidence comes from it. People who have been sick stand before me and aren't sick anymore. And I recognize that my attention to them from my place of knowing their wellness was like a satellite dish beaming it to them in a way that they didn't have access to before I became so stable in it, you see. Can you feel what we're talking about? Most people are in and out and 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 in and out. In and out and 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 in and out until you're awake now. Until they're in and out and 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 in and out until they accept powerlessness as the norm. You see. But if you just be in and out and in and in and in and out and in and in and in and in and in and in and out and in and in and in and in and out and in and in and in and in and in and in and out and in 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 and out and in and in and in and in and in and in, you start to feel the power of your being. You start to know who you are, and you start to see the evidence of it all around you, you see. Because words don't teach. It's only your personal revelry in the energy that creates worlds that gives you the knowing of your power. That was good. And the reason that you're in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out is because something inspires you out, and then something inspires you in, and then you see something in and out, and you're just responding to conditions. I heard this song, in I go. I heard this song, out I go. I heard this song, in I go. I heard this song, out I go. I heard this song, in I go. I heard this song, out I go. I call this person, in I went. I call this person, out I went. You're just letting what is control how you feel, all the while complaining about, well, that makes me feel awful, and that makes me feel awful. And we say, you're in charge of how you feel. You get to choose what you think about. You get to choose who you call. You get to choose what you eat. You get to choose what you read. You get to choose what you watch on television. You get to choose the movies you go to. You get to choose the past that you think about. You get to choose the present that you think about. You get to pretend into the future. You get to imagine. You get to pretend that your lover doesn't love you. You get to pretend that your lover does love you. You get to pretend that money is flowing. You get to pretend that money isn't flowing. You get to choose it all, you see. You get to use the power of your mind, and you get to have emotional, vibrational responses to those choices until you can be in and in and in and in and in and in. And once you make the vortex your home, once you are usually hanging around in the vortex, then what happens is rooms open up to you. That feeling of being on the verge, that feeling of being on the verge of something more, it just becomes bigger and bigger until you accept that the entire universe is queued up to assist you. You begin feeling so worthy and so blessed and so cared for, and as if all that is interested so expressly and supremely in you that only good things can happen to you. And when you reach that place, then you're who you were when you were born, only with all of this new stuff since you were born that you've put into your vortex that is now ready to show itself to you, just to you. Nice to know.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine it can be as good as as it is.
Let's leave it there then.
Thank you.